Y'all like our buzzer, don't you? Welcome to our back-to-school meeting. It is now August the 6th at 6 p.m. And we'd like to welcome everybody back. It's our first time back in here. It seems like we hadn't seen each other forever, but our last meeting was actually in June. But I think everything went well this week. School's starting back, kids are back, parents are excited to get them out of the house, teachers are excited. So thank y'all for everything y'all done this week, getting us started. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Cooper a minute. She had an announcement to make with us, then there's welcome time.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Key, and welcome, everyone. Thank you for being with us. We are so thankful for all of the business partners and community leaders that co-join with us in our efforts. Last week, our food and nutrition director, Ryan Skinner, walked into my office with a $10,000 check from Sodexo to the Culinary Arts Program for scholarship for students. So I want to take a moment and give them Thank you. Thank you.
If y'all get a chance, go by there, because it is amazing the stuff they do out of there and the food they prepare. So I want to thank Sodexo on that. But we're going to move forward. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Wooten for our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If we can bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we invite your presence into our meeting today. Grant us the wisdom to discuss the important issues and make good choices for our schools. Bless our students, teachers, and staff as a new year begins. Keep everyone safe and eager to learn. Help us to listen to each other with respect and patience. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and moving on down with no objections, the consent agenda stands approved as presented. And now we're going to move on into our LexingtonTwo Spotlight, and I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Matt Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Cooper. Very excited tonight to have a LexingtonTwo Spotlight for a very special family to this community, and I know, of course, the school district. We have the Ruth family with us, so if you guys don't mind standing up while I say a few words. I got to tell this story to start with. A couple years ago, after we first opened and dedicated this facility, the Ruth family came and did a walkthrough around the whole building. We showed them around. I think most of y'all, were here for that. And Coach Smith in the back there, former airport coach and teacher, he was upstairs and he said, "Look, there's all these signs up here that say roof access. We have VIP seating on the second floor." I said, unfortunately, no, but we do have something better for y'all, and that's why we're here today to officially dedicate the Performing Arts Center lobby as the Long Branch lobby. We're honored to welcome this family here tonight as we officially dedicate the PAC lobby in their honor. We've installed new signage you see here on the screen in the boardroom, kind of providing a history of their family and a history of how this facility came to be and what used to be here in this facility. Their legacy is we are here to recognize, and we want to convey to our guests and staff that this beautiful facility would not have been possible without their family. So personally, I want to thank you guys again. It's been a pleasure working with you, getting to know you, talking with you. It's been such a joy to work with you on this project, and it's very clear to me, not knowing you beforehand, the majority of you, that your importance to this community is clear. Very special place in this community, very special place in LexingtonTwo, and we look forward to spending lots of time, having lots of great events, lots of students, community members in the Long Branch lobby for years to come. So congratulations. Very thankful for you guys and your commitment to this district and this community. do believe somebody's been selected or been volunteered to say a few words, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I was, as you know, I graduated from Airport High School many years ago. And I think the last time that I did any kind of public speaking at all was when I was student body president at Airport High School. So if I fumble around a little bit here, I'm sorry, and I won't make this too long, but we sure do appreciate what y'all done and recognizing the family name. The Long Branch was a pivotal part of this whole community many years ago. And matter of fact, my bedroom, I think, was right over here. So it's amazing to me how time has flown by. You know, if people don't, one of the good things about this is that you're recognizing history. This is a school district. History is very important. And local history is probably as much important as anything. So, again, on behalf of the family, we sure do appreciate it.
I want to say, too, you guys are welcome to stay for the meeting. It'll be a lot of fun, but feel free to go celebrate and have you a good meal somewhere. But, you know, thanks for being here, and once again, we appreciate you.
Thank the Root family. We would like for y'all to stay, though. We work better with crowds. Our food, if you bring food, would even better. But thank y'all, Root family. All right, we are moving on into our administrative divisions, and I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Hugs.
Yes, Mr. Chair, board members, and Dr. Cooper, I am very happy to report our vacancy update for you today. As of today, we only have one certified position that is vacant and 16 support vacancies. So we're very excited that we've been able to start the year on a good note. So, any questions?
All right.
And I'm also going to provide a short update for the CPAC. The CPAC program, which stands for the Champions Pathway to Alternative Certification for Teachers, was approved by the State Department in June of this year. Following the program's approval, Dr. Small, raise your hand, Dr. Small, she held 2 interest meetings for LexingtonTwo employees and for our community members. Since that time, the Human Resources Department has worked to recruit qualified candidates and fill the program's first cohort. At this time, we have 14 enrolled participants across several instructional and critical needs areas, and I'm going to tell you what those are. We have 4 biology teachers, 1 general science teacher, 3 SPED teachers, 2 elementary education teachers, 2 early childhood, 1 Spanish, and 1 business teacher who have all agreed to be in this program. 3 of the teachers have already earned their certifications since they joined our cohort this summer, and 6 of the 14 participants or teachers were already employed by LexingtonTwo in roles such as either a coach, a teacher assistant, or a lab manager. CPAC strengthens our district's teacher pipeline by giving them these opportunities to join this cohort and learn from our very best in LexingtonTwo. They did have a summer institute the week before school started, and they were able to come in and get some of the basics that our alternative pathway teachers need, just the language that we use. And so that way they got some professional development on classroom management, what it looks like, how to use the instructional framework in our district. And so we're very proud of this program, and we look forward to giving a full presentation later on in the school year. So I'll be happy to entertain any questions, and you should have a little goodie bag somewhere near your seat.
Thank you.
We're proud of the program, so yes.
All right, no questions. We're going to move on through, but we are giving Ms. Strickland the night off and Dr. Cooper the night off, so we'll be ready for y'all in 2 weeks. All right, but we're going to move on down into instruction. I'm going to turn this over to Dr. McDonald.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Looking forward to sharing some information with you tonight. Before I get into my formal presentation about our summer programming, just want to kind of cue this up by saying there have been so much work over the summer from all of our staff, our team here at the district level, but also lots of teachers who spent hundreds of hours putting together curriculum for our school year, developing resources, realigning things. We had folks counting out books a few days. We had all kinds of activity happening here across the district that led us up to our opening week, which went over very, very well. We had lots of positive training, lots of just really, really neat things that our teachers were doing. But also, of course, that largest project during that week is our Lex2 Learns activities, which was a wonderful time for us to share, for us to help get folks ready for the classrooms. Every year when we do these activities, our summer work, we always take time to survey that work, to allow folks to give us feedback on what worked, what didn't work. It's important for us to look at that, to know that if something didn't work, we need to move past it and look at some other ways. We certainly got some feedback on that account this week with our Lex2 Learns, but there was lots of positive opportunities in there. We certainly want to make sure we look at our check-in process as well as looking at making sure that we've got rooms matched with the right number of folks. So we'll be doing some work as a team to examine that feedback closely, and certainly we'll look at some opportunities to make that even better of an experience next year for our teachers. But certainly want to highlight just the number of incredible trainings and sessions that were led by folks across our district to help prepare folks for the first day of school, which has gone over very, very well. But I'm going to segue to our summer camps and programming review just to kind of give you some ideas of other things we did all summer to make sure that our kids were ready for the first day of school. The first one I want to highlight is our summer school activities. Of course, we offer summer school every year. You can see there's some numbers for you. We had 118 students in high school that took opportunity to go back and redo some courses, take some opportunities to do some course work to prepare them for this year. This year, our middle school number was up some to encompass 67 kids who needed some extra support, but also to give us some opportunities to work on our reading and math skills specifically. We had lots of folks who helped split that time up, so some of our teachers worked for 2 weeks or 1 week when they could, and so we were able to, in the end, help kids earn an additional 84 credits that helped them sort of to get closer to graduation. Just to give you some idea of what those credits were earned in, this gives you sort of a chart to see how those courses broke down. We also did at Pine Ridge this year. We did an offline format of summer school to give some opportunities for kids that might want a little more flexibility in what they were doing. And then also we worked with kids who were at Newbridge and our high schools again to make sure that they were able to get some of those credits. And we had one student who took the personal finance exam this summer and got credit for a course. The next one, and perhaps the largest summer offering that we have is our Camp Learns More, which is required by legislation. This is our Read to Succeed camp. And you can see here several of the highlights of that camp. We try to make that a fun, engaging opportunity for our students because we know that a lot of times will show up to that camp feeling sort of behind, defeated, and we want them to feel good about what they're doing and how they're learning. And so our team worked very hard to make sure that they had meaningful experiences that will help prepare them for the fall. Just to kind of give you some stats on that camp program, we had 15 teachers who worked there, 5 instructional assistants who helped with that. So it is a big undertaking when you think about the number of students that we have. Altogether, 226 students participated, and about 169 actually showed up consistently, so they were there the entire time. And of course, these are kids who are going from 3rd to 4th grade, so they have to meet those rigorous state requirements before they can move on to 4th grade. And then, of course, we also this year had a pre-K camp of 22 students who worked as well on some of those development skills to help us get ready for the first day of school. Our Camp Gigi, this is our camp that serves our students with special needs who are who have to attend school all year long practically. They're receiving extended school year services. So you can see, in addition to the academic part, we also like to build in some of those fun opportunities for kids to have those social opportunities, but also to engage in really extensions of what they've learned in class. You can see here a little bit more information. Of course, as I said, this is required by also by these students' individual education plans. To give you some numbers of what worked in that program, we had 7 teachers this year, 16 support staff. This does require us to have some additional classroom assistance with a lot of our students who are participating in this program. And so 6 students continued their speech therapy services, which is really important for student developing. And then, of course, we had 16 students who were doing extended school year for academic gains, and 54 students who participated in the camp, just to make sure we don't have that summer slide in learning. Another big camp for us is our multilingual learner camp. So these are our students who are continuing to work on their language advancement. So they're working on their English skills. They're working specifically on that oral language. They're working on reading and writing to help them be even more successful as we get back to school this year. We had some opportunities for them. We gave away some bikes, which was a neat way to encourage attendance, to get kids to come. There was also some story time activities, as well as the Lexington County Mobile Library visited these students. So in all, at Riverbank Elementary, we hosted 60 students from all 6 of our elementary schools there. And at Saluda River, we hosted 18 middle school students. Again, we want to make sure these students are not going backwards. We want to keep them moving forward, and so we provided these opportunities for them. Again, that focus on instruction is critical. We know that if we can help a kid continue to learn that English and learn to read, it will certainly help them advance towards the new school year. Another one of our very successful camps is, of course, our L2 PAC Fine Arts Summer Camp. This camp allows students to participate from all over the district. This year there were 80 students who participated and learned even more of their fine arts skills. So you can see here some pictures of some of their work and some of the things that they were able to do this summer. I do want to highlight several of our other camps and activities that occurred over the summer. In our college and career readiness arm, this summer we hosted our first electric vehicle camp, which was a big hit. These students, thanks to a grant from the State Department last year, they were able to attend, learn about EVs, learn about all the things that go into building those cars and maintaining those cars, and even had a chance to go to Scout to look at their new training center, which is quite impressive. So we're very pleased with that camp. We also offered a fire and flavor culinary arts camp at the L2IC, as well as the hair braiding 101 camp. On the athletic side, you can see a number of programs hosted camps to help prepare our athletes for the year as well. So that's sort of a snapshot at a glance of some of the summer work that's been happening, and I'm happy to answer any questions y'all may have.
Ms. Wooten?
Thank you for that presentation, Dr. McDonald. It sounds like y'all did have a great, busy summer, and we appreciate everything that y'all do. However, I do want to go back to the professional development days. And first of all, I want to say that the phone calls I got for, as far as the content, it was outstanding. I especially want to give a shout out to the safety and student services presentations. We got more compliments. Also, all the core presentations and most of the teachers that called and that we were able to talk to at our fabulous back to school rally last Friday were, you know, if they had not signed up for the class and they ended up in a class, or some of the things, it was a refresher, and they appreciated it, because it's always good to remember the steps if you have forgotten it. However, I would have to say it was disheartening. You know, when you turn down Airport Boulevard, I happened to be doing some PRN work that day, and I was like, what in the world? And it's backed up to the stoplight, and then when I get where I can go around, I can see a line of our teachers around the school. So, and then, you know, that we asked them to sign up in an app for the classes that they wanted, and then when they get there, they have to be turned around. So I appreciate you addressing that there were problems at both days, and I appreciate that and hope that that does not happen again. We can all count. So we know how many people we had coming that day, and we know how many seats we have. I don't ever want to see pictures of our staff having to sit on a floor for a classroom, even though they enjoyed the class and were amazed about that. So, you know, I appreciate that you've acknowledged that, and I look forward to that we don't get those kind of comments again. But I do want to say that as far as what was taught and given and everything, it was all outstanding.
Thank you.
Ms. Burkett?
Dr. McDonald, for the camps where you are able to collect data, does the data support that there is growth and that this makes a positive difference for the students?
So in particular, the reading camp, one of the requirements is that we give the map screener again at the end of that camp. And we had I don't know if it's in the PowerPoint, but that data does support, in other words, those students have to meet that rigorous deadline or they do not move on to fourth grade. So we had very few retentions, thank goodness, because many of those kids were able to perform at the level that we need them to be able to be advanced. So data is maintained at all of those. One of the things with our special needs camp, those students, we're looking at their IEP goals. So we're tracking their data in progress, and then that gets poured straight over to their teacher this year. So yes, we track all of those data points to look at progress.
So do we keep any longer-term data, like if we say last year a child went to reading camp and this is how they performed in the last academic year and then they came this year? I mean, do we compare them to kids who didn't do the summer camp? Like, are we able to see that?
We can, so that would be a natural piece that would happen early on in the year. So we're getting ready to get map testing. That'll happen in the next couple of weeks. So that's certainly the opportunity for teachers, administrators to sit down and look at which kids were behind, which kids, were where we needed them to be, and then of course look at where they are now. That summer gap is a real thing. And so what we try to do is look at scores from one year to the next to determine, what do we need to intervene on? What do we need to make sure they're doing to stay ahead? What do we need to do to make sure that they're continuing to advance and grow?
So could you report back to us just a little bit about that in a future meeting? I just would be interested to know, because, summer camp is an awesome thing for many reasons, not the least of which being for parents. But we want to know that they're effective.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
thank you so much.
Mr. Hall?
Yeah, I appreciate what you said at first about on the professional development, getting the feedback, from the teachers and admins on what worked and what didn't work. And maybe I'll follow that kind of related to the cohort program. I just feel like I get a lot of, sometimes we're just checking off the boxes rather than making sure that it is value added for the teachers. I feel like sometimes that there's things maybe needed for new teachers versus veteran teachers, or you may need something a lot different for biology and science than you do for someone in the trades or PE teachers. So I just encourage you to maybe get a lot of bottom-up feedback going for them, what's effective, and let's don't check the box, because we all, as a board, want teachers in the classroom engaged with the kids. So when we bring them out, I feel like we want to make sure it's very worthwhile.
So to speak to your point about cohorts are actually, teachers apply to present those. So those are not something that we typically assign people to. We do have some that we need people to be assigned to because of their position, because of what they do, but there's always choice. That is something I believe very much in. It's something I think we have to give as teachers the opportunity to make choices. Sometimes we have to guide teachers to choose things, but generally speaking, our number one priority is to always provide some type of choice for teachers.
The other thing, I noticed you had the app to sign up. Do you have like and I'm gonna call this a learning management system, where you have a system that keeps track of all the PD opportunities? And
We do.
You do. And does it offer online options as well?
That particular system currently does not, but we do have access to lots of online opportunities that we put in our classroom corner once a month. That will always have different opportunities that teachers can access, some of them online, some of them in person, but there's always opportunities. Our content folks are always, they have things that are brought to their attention that they can share as well.
It just seems like sometimes that might be less disruptive than having to travel to one location. I wish I used a lot less of it, but like Google Meets and things like that, I just encourage you sometimes to take advantage of that technology and avoid, teachers having to, travel, be away from the rooms as much as possible.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, Ms. Rucker?
Thank you very much. As far as the information that Ms. Burkett requested, I'd love to see that too, so thank you for
See if we can
providing
pull
that
that
to
together.
us. As far as professional development, is that pretty well laid out for the entire year at the start of the year?
So
far as-
generally speaking, yes. You know, there've been some changes to the law in the last year that require us to require more. So in some years where we could count things that, you know, in a different format, we no longer can do that. For example, part of the preparation for the opening of school is required by legislation. So we have to log those hours. We have to account for, you know, all of that time being actually held and done. Again, some of that within choice, some of that within things that we know are some of our district big initiatives. So we try to keep that as tight as possible. But teachers are required to get so many credit points per year in order to maintain their certification.
Okay. Do we have like when they're gonna take place this year and what's gonna be covered, or?
Generally, yes. So there are always things that pop up as opportunities, so we may add something or have that out there, but those generally are choice kinds of situations. Schools will have a professional development time that they're required to do, so that may be school-specific kinds of things, but in general, yes. Generally speaking, yes, most of those are out there. Again, if something pops up, we want to make sure our teachers have access to it.
Right.
But usually, the dates themselves, if it's something that pulls somebody away, those are already determined, and we don't schedule those during the school year.
Okay.
There are things that we pull folks for, but we try to be very, very rare with that.
Now, I've heard, you know, it can change and shift, but can can you share that with us, just the outline of what it looks like for this year?
Well, so that would be so each individual school has their own professional development plan. So they've developed that, so the school would have that. We can send you copies of what the schools have put together for this year.
Okay, it would just be neat to see like what a year entails with that. So, and then I believe we added pre-K to one of the camps this year that we didn't have last year, is that true?
That's
And
correct.
can you remind me which one it is?
Yeah,
and-
that one
and how
was
we
as
did
part
it?
of, I'm looking for Dr. Crotwell. That was as part of the, we had a group with the preschool. Try to go back to it.
I just wanted
think
to,
Ms.
you know,
Brooks
see how it
actually-
went. Was it, you know, a positive
Brooks, do you wanna-
experience for the kids, and did they have gains? Mhm. Very good. I love it.
Just share a piece of data that's really great about Camp Learn Some More is that 82% of our first graders that attended, these are our first graders going into second for the summer, met their post at growth from pre to post. So 82%. So
That's
only
awesome.
9 did not make that 52 kids.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ms. Castles?
I say this almost every year, but I know we have to have professional development. There's a lot of training, but I will say, I think it is very valuable for teachers and administrators to have time in their school. I know they had the 2 unencumbered days, but the day before, they basically have to have pretty much everything ready. But I would even think administrators wanting to get with their family just to kind of corral them in and get them comfortable. But if we can find time where our teachers can be in their classroom to work on some things and collaborate with, you know, other workers in the building, I would think that would mean a lot, and I won't speak for them, but I would like to see us have some more ways that we can get input from our teachers, and a lot of people don't want to put their name, but just, you know, some good tips and stuff from things from their end that would be helpful that they might want to suggest. And I'd like for us to work on a way where we can have that. I used to say something about a teacher forum, but not necessarily the teacher of the year because they're busy, but just to get some input, because I think that would be valuable to know what they need to be ready. And I appreciate what everybody has done, and I know you guys have worked, and you and I have already talked, but from the printers not working, and, I mean, those are like, I was telling somebody, that's like, Ms. Burkett, I want you to give us a presentation for the board or from some instructors, and I want you to have it ready, and I want it to be your best, but now I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna take this, but show me what you got. So I appreciate what everybody has done and their patience and hanging in there with us, and we will do better. So, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, I did hit all the schools that week, and I was so excited to see how they was working together. I went to one school, they had what they call a little circuit going around in the kitchen area, where the teachers, they were teaching other teachers of what they went to conference for this year. And I went to one that had a round robin going on. So I saw numerous different kinds of learning. I saw teachers teaching teachers, and it was so refreshing. I saw one group over at the airport, I think they were going whole classroom just rotating to different things, and they seemed so excited. And I went through the lockdown security room, and I was learning a lot about the security. It was very impressive what they actually do and what the teachers have to know on this security. So I just want to thank all y'all for everything y'all did last week, because I learned a lot. I mean, I went through some of the classes trying to learn that stuff, so it was great, and y'all did do a great job. So I appreciate y'all for setting it up and everything that was ran. So I know there was a lot of learning going on. So thank y'all for that.
And the back-to-school rally was
Yeah,
top-notch.
the back-to-school rally
I
was
should
good.
just say that one.
Especially Dr.
one more
Cooper
time.
singing.
Yes.
Especially Dr. Cooper.
I'll let you
singing.
do it next time.
Please don't, that would make it not top notch.
Can we vote on that? Okay.
It was good. It was good to see all that excitement in that room that day. But it was a good one. Thank you, Dr. Cooper, for all the work you put into that. 'Cause I know you've worked on it for a long time.
We did.
And the song was outstanding. I love the district song. Being a district has their own song, so that was pretty cool.
We're gonna sing this. Cool.
Tonight?
No.
Had me worried.
The only
Okay.
problem is Matt waving that white flag, sandstorm.
I thought that was
White
pretty cool.
towel. I wasn't
I
waving
thought
the
it was
white
pretty
flag.
good.
We're not doing that yet.
I thought it was okay.
Matt might have a new calling, a
Yeah.
new MC.
Retirement gig.
That's right. All right, well, I'm gonna turn it over to you then for our facilities report.
Yeah, just real quick, I don't have a presentation. Normally, and we'll do that again at our regularly scheduled meeting in August, Mr. McPherson will bring a thorough update of all of our summer facilities improvements. But just to hit a few highlights, you know, roofing work is still ongoing at Busby, and then also we did a lot of roofing work at Springdale. HVAC units replaced at multiple schools: Springdale, Busby, Newbridge, BC. Airport, done some asphalt work. Bulldog Boulevard's been repaired and relined and striped. It looks really good. I was out there today. Painting, we've really been on top of our painting. So with this summer, we did Northside and Brook and Casey as well. But he'll bring a lot more things. There was a lot more than that happened this summer. Also, just wanted to address, I know there's been some questions about flooring work that we did this summer. And so we've heard the call on that, and so we've already met with some vendors and contractors and discussed some options for kind of next steps with flooring. So we're rolling on that. Probably going to see some different flooring solutions around the state, maybe even some in North Carolina. There's some newer options that are out there that might accomplish, you know, some of the things we're looking for with that. So we look to bring some plans to Dr. Cooper here very soon about what we'd like to do, specifically at Busby, and then get that rolling, you know, as soon as we're able to. So that's in the works, and we'll have some options for you here very, very, very soon. Happy to answer any kind of
Any
questions.
questions? Ms. Wooten?
I do. Talking about the floors,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, at Busby and Saluda River. So, we don't need to go into any detail. You've made it
Yes, ma'am.
that, you know, of course, there was some disappointment. It sounds like y'all are gonna correct that. However, we have had, and it's not just me, I'm just talking, for all of us, have gotten calls. So it does seem to be some concern, and we certainly have the concern of walking on that for 8 hours a day. And I know that you had said we had replaced the rugs. I can't remember, was it first and third, and we were gonna replace in second and fifth? Is that correct? Or
We did, I believe, pre-K through second last year and third through fifth are on the way currently. So all the elementary school classes.
Okay, so, and I don't think anyone that I'm sitting with up here tonight would disagree, that we do have staff that are, having, I think it takes a lot for them to write a very heartfelt email to all of us, concerns. So I'd like for us to be very proactive. I don't want them to have to ask for the anti-fatigue mats for the teachers to stand on when they're doing their instructional part, or when they're in the centers. I think we need to have anti-fatigue mats under the rugs for the kids, because it's so hard to sit on that cement for any extended period of time. And Dr. Cooper, you know, I really think we need to offer, not have them ask for them. I think we need to go ahead and provide them, both at Busby as needed, and certainly at the elementary school under the center areas and for our teachers. I just think it is the right thing to do, and I don't think anybody's disagreeing with me that we need to do that. I don't want them to have to ask and give a reason. We need to provide them.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Castles?
I also understand how the concrete floors are used a lot more and how the upkeep is, you know, a lot easier, but even using some color, or it looked like, you know, some of them looked okay, but some of them, I feel like it was even just the preparation before, you know, because we had some old schools where you could see the tiles and all that, but I don't know, whatever we could do to make the standing on it, you know, better for people, but I started researching some of this, and there are different colors and borders, and, you know, we have some schools that look really great and inviting and want to keep it that way, so anyway, just remember those choices when we go forward.
We're excited to bring you some options of what we're looking to do, so we'll have that very soon.
Perfect.
All right, Ms. Burkett?
Well, I just wanted to say that I'm actually kind of disappointed that we're even having this conversation, because we had this conversation several months ago when you came to us about doing the concrete floors, and there were a lot of reservations about using the concrete floors, and you gave us a lot of good data about the difference in the give was so minimal and what have you. And yet here we sit today saying we need to get everybody an anti-fatigue mat, and we need to get the mats for the kids to sit on, and et cetera. So before we extend this into the whole district, which we at one time had talked about, that this would move forward, I think we need to be a little more sort of conscientious about what the whole process costs us, not just getting the concrete floor, but how much does it cost us to get everything else that we need to make the classrooms more usable. So, thank you.
Are we working on any other schools right now, or are we?
No, ma'am.
No, okay. So we'll
Well,
get this
well,
settled and figure out the best
Yeah, I
step
mean,
forward before we do that.
moving forward, the plan would not be to do polished concrete floors.
Okay.
Any others? All right, we're gonna move on into old business then.
Take that, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Castles?
I guess this is the appropriate time. Where are we with the printers? How are all of our
I
schools
believe we're,
and-
Mr. Hauser, very, very close, if not fully complete with that.
Yes, we've been through all the buildings, we've done it with all the teachers, there's still, of course, I'm sure we missed a few here and there, but we've got most of it.
And to, you know, not one to make excuses, I mean, and ultimately, in the defense of our technology department, it was an update that kind of came at us through the, you know, our lease that we have with our printers. It was kind of an unexpected update that we had to respond to very quickly, and so I do appreciate, you know, him and his team jumping on that as quickly as they could, and I mean, that's a lot of staff to get through in a very short amount of time, and I think within, you know, 3 or 4 days, you know, once we kind of got this thing identified and got it rolled out, they were on it. But it did create an inconvenience, which we understand and, of course, apologize for. But I do appreciate him and his staff jumping on that as quickly as they did.
Well, again, I'm gonna say, speak like Mr. Braid, this is not my world, but, would that have to do with a certain vendor that does that at a certain time, or just the equipment does it? Because of all times, that, of course, was not the perfect time, and I know
Yeah, it
y'all
was.
can't
Well-
control that, but can we with the company we use?
Yeah, it was, we got brand-new copiers. So our lease had ran out with our copiers that we had in place, so we got brand-new copiers across the district
When did we get the new copiers?
just recently.
But like, when did we get the copiers really more, like, do you know the date? Was it, how much time did we have?
We just, I mean, they've been installing them the last couple weeks. I mean, just like the last month, they've come in, and so we were able to identify this.
Right, but could we have waited and gotten the copiers a little bit later? I know that it's always a lot to tackle, but I'm just thinking because of all times, of
Well,
course.
and we'll look at that. We should be set for 3 years, so we won't have to really discuss this, or, you know, with any kind of new copy. Believe you me, in 3 years, when it's time to, you know, replace those copiers, we'll have those conversations early on to make sure we're not facing a similar issue.
Okay, I just wanted to know if it could have been avoided, because I know I don't want our teachers having to go, add stress, pay for copying, and figure out how am I gonna get this. I'd be the person with the printer at home that wouldn't be working, and I'd have to figure out how to go to my mom's or Miss Paquette's and send it to her, and while I have all these other things. So I just, anyway, it bothers me that I know people went and spent their money to do things that were, because last year I was talking about, can we get in the rooms on time and get them prepared? And this year we had a different set of circumstances. So this time is so important for them to be ready for those kids, and they will. They do those things all the time, and they will be ready for their kids, but I don't want us adding the stress to them.
I hear you.
All right, and Mr. Warren, I think all the AC's up and going now.
We're in pretty good shape right now. I mean, sometimes it's a day-to-day, you know, this time of year. I mean, when you have this many units and this many classrooms, but Mr. McPherson's, his team's been on top of things, and we're responding as quickly as we can, but feel very good about where we are right now.
And I commend you, because every school I went to, I was nervous walking in the classrooms. Because they would let you know if the air wasn't working. But I would text Mr. Warren as soon as I got out, and that McPherson, somebody was there. So thank y'all for that quick response there.
Hear anything about it?
Yeah.
First year I didn't hear about it.
Let's not talk about it much more, though.
That's right.
Let's just let it.
That's right.
Let it be.
Don't
Let a good
conjure
thing
it up.
be.
Great job.
Thank you.
All right, now we're gonna move on into old business and looking at consideration of second reading approval of proposed revisions to board policy IKADD, content and credit recovery, informational only for board. No vote.
That's for the revision. Are you ready?
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the second reading of proposed revisions to board policy IKADD, content and credit recovery.
Had a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, now we're gonna move down into new business. And this will be consideration of first reading of proposed revisions to board policy JFABC, transfer students, information only for board, no vote, addition, administrative rule, and transfer students. Ms. Wooten?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve first reading of proposed revisions to board policy JFABC, transfer students.
Had a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I've got one. I mean,
Okay.
it's tangentially a part of it, but if we sorry. I was gonna see if I can keep it off the whole meeting. I failed.
You can't do that.
If we have space in a school and it makes sense to move a student, I know we had one student that many of us were involved with that kind of went through the whole process. If the space is there, let's make the common sense decision without it becoming a huge deal. That's all I've got.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. Well, go ahead.
Under the transfer fees, it says that there's, an annual transfer fee. Can somebody tell me about that?
It's, that's referring to another word for tuition. So anytime a student, attends not just our district, but any district, and doesn't live in that district or own property in that district, they're required to pay an equivalent amount to whatever that we receive from the state, for that student per pupil ratio. And I think, Mr. Chapman, around $4,000 or so a year, correct? 46, 26 per year. Okay, so right around that $2,300 a semester is that tuition rate.
Okay, does that include children of teachers who are not in the district?
No, ma'am. If you're an employee of the district, you're allowed to bring your student to this district as employee choice, and that fee is then waived.
Does that go along with 4K too?
I don't believe that does. I don't believe that applies to 4K.
Okay.
Can somebody give me an example of who that would be, a non-resident student in the district? Who would, just give me an example.
Well, I mean, we have a lot of students that'll, apply to come to our district who don't live in the district, and they go through like a school choice process, and then, we look at that application. I mean, sometimes you check a lot of things. You check grades, attendance, behavior, you look at the history, and then, we are allowed to, in certain situations, admit non-resident students into our district, but then along with that does come that tuition fee, which can be waived in certain circumstances, but we consider those on an individual basis.
Could you just give me an example of somebody who would do that, like they live someplace,
They don't live in our district and they want to come to our district. I mean,
We've had some over the past little time where somebody owned a business in the district, and so they were coming in and they wanted to bring their kid to go to the school next to it.
Yeah.
We've had some in like Elmwood and Olympia that, no offense to a sister school district, would much prefer to go to Saluda River, and so it's easier to go across that bridge.
and so they're willing to pay $4,600 to do that?
Yeah, a lot of times they'll ask, I wouldn't say they're willing, I mean, that's part of it, and a lot of times they'll apply for a waiver, and then we'll consider that, and in certain situations, I mean, that can be waived, it's not always waived, it's just, we have discretion with that to look at that individual situation and decide what's the best decision to make.
Okay, so I'm showing my ignorance here, but sometime in the last year, we had a vote about waiving something for everybody. Was that for this? Do you remember? The waiving the fees?
I want to say I remember, but I don't.
I thought it was like with the transfer rule on sports.
Transfer rule up to 50.
We said we would waive the first 50 that wanted to play sports, I think. Something like that. It would be in the minutes. but-
We have a discretion to look at that and decide, if that's something that is in the best interest of, the district and the student, regardless of their, participation in any kind of activity. But it is something that we can do in certain situations.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I just want to add to the question, Ms. Burkett. We've had a lot of discussion over the past 6 years about the fee. And I know that, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago or so, there was pretty much consensus. I don't think we had a vote, but the idea was if there is space, kind of like on the intra-district, inter-district is the same. If there is space and the child meets the higher rigor that is involved in it, then we're getting the state dollars. We just don't get that child's county dollars. And so just breaking that down and starting, eventually the state law, it's heading that way anyway. So let's just kind of go ahead and get there. I personally, I'm not going to go to throw it in there, but I would love to see us just go ahead and lead the way that way. If we have space that's not taking away from our students who live in the area, and we can bring in talent from Elmwood or Olympia or wherever, or an owner, a business owner or a worker or whatever can come here and we have this spot, we don't need to charge them. We need to take their state seat allocation, teach them up just like we would any other kid, and be happy that we brought good talent. if there's space. The second it takes away from our community space, then that's something else we need to discuss. And to me, I think if there's not space, we just don't do it. Plain and simple. That takes all the other variables away, an arbitrary 4,000, 30, 46, 26, or whatever it is. That's all I had to say.
Ms. Castles?
I agree, but I do feel like we have to have guidelines, and we have to have, and we do have a policy where we have it has to be no later than a certain month. Now, let me ask you, how many people do we accept past for interdistrict, do you think, about, would we take after the cutoff deadline?
I don't have that exact.
What would you
number.
guess, though?
5 to 10. I mean, I don't think it's a lot.
I just,
yeah.
if we have rules, I feel like, you know, how do we choose this person, this person, this person? And I think we need to be careful within our schools and what we do to each other by those kinds of
Yeah, and I
transfers too.
think with this new, obviously with this new policy and new legislation, like Mr. Bray mentioned, I think it's something we'll continue to look at this year, and because it is kind of a changing world, make sure we're not only ahead of the curve, but just have something in place that we're all comfortable with, you know, in regards to this. And this is the first step in that direction, but I do agree that, you know, looking at dates, because these things, like, you know, sometimes we'll get these requests and like next week, you know, one might come in. And so, I mean, school has started, and then, you're bringing new kids into the classroom that don't live in the district. And so I think that can create some challenges. You know, but then you also have kids who move here who have the right to be enrolled and go to school. And so I think that is important to look at those dates and try to make sure there's something that we can manage and that is clear. And this policy does address, you know, some of that, putting a timetable, a timeline on it so that, you know, there's no questions, you know, with that. But then again, I mean, every situation is unique. It's hard to fit all these scenarios in a box and make them work. But it's something we'll have to continue to look at this year and as this policy progresses, for sure.
Right, and especially when it comes to athletics, I want to make sure we are not doing any harm to the kid, number one, but to either school or a group of kids. So I just feel like if we have policies, we need to kind of stick with them. So,
Any other discussion? All right, we had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. All right, motion carries. All right, next item is consideration of updates to Lex2 dual enrollment courses meeting. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm actually going to turn it over to Dr. Burgraff, who's going to share with you some information regarding our dual enrollment program and some courses that have changed with our provider, and so we want to make sure we get that all up to speed.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Cooper, good evening. Each school district in South Carolina gets to determine the equivalencies of dual enrollment courses and graduation requirements. It depends on the university that you partner with, the courses that they offer, and how those play into the high school requirements. The last time that LexingtonTwo's equivalency chart was updated was 2017, and over time, the course offerings that we have changed, the course offerings that Midlands Tech offers has changed, and so this just brings that back into alignment based on the current course catalogs.
Mr. Chair, I'm really glad you said 2017, because I went back 4 years trying to find this and couldn't find it, because I just want to see what's thinking changed. So it makes me feel less crazy. I appreciate that. Is this something that we can just do yearly with our curriculum, our classes thing? Is there any reason we can't just overlay those together?
Typically, it would. I think this was an issue, there were some changes that we had to address. Otherwise, I think we would have. Is that right, Dr.
Right,
Burgraff?
yes and no. Partly it depends on when Midlands Tech puts out their course offerings so that we can make sure that they're equivalent. As long as we have both up to date, we can certainly include it as part of the course catalog.
I think it makes sense so that this document's not something,
Sure.
like I truly had never seen it, so. And then if there's a change that needs to happen later, it happens and we move on. Thank you.
Dr. McDonald, is there any need to vote on this since it's an update or not?
I think there is, because this is changing some of the language, which you all have previously approved. So it's changing, it's updating the language part, so I do think you all probably need to vote on that.
Mr. Chair, are there any actual course changes that we should be aware of? I would just hate for something to be taking off of here that we're voting to and we didn't realize that change is
No,
happening.
like one of the biggest, or I don't know, biggest, one of the changes, for example, is statistical model. So probability and statistics is offered at Midlands Tech. It used to have a previous equivalency for a course that no longer exists. So we had to update it, for example, to the state statistical modeling.
That's the Math 120?
Correct. Do you know of any others offhand? Correct. Yeah. If there was a question why some say not recommended, they are equivalencies. A student could choose to take them at Midlands Tech and they have a graduation equivalent, but that student also has to take the end of course exam at the end. And they're taking a college course that doesn't necessarily teach high school standards. So we want to have that conversation with them ahead of time to say, at the end of this course, you're going to have to take an exam over content that may or may not have been covered in that college class, and so that they have a plan to prepare themselves for that EOC. So that's why it says not recommended, it's just not an automatic.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Ms. Burkett.
I just wanted
Well,
to ask.
We'll go
I
ahead and
just-
take a motion, and then we'll get a second, then we'll go to discussion,
Okay.
make sure we.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the updates to Lexington2 dual enrollment courses meeting high school graduation requirement.
Second.
I had a motion and a second, and now we got a question from Ms. Burkett.
Yeah, my question just was, our parents provided this long about end of seventh grade, this piece of paper?
I'm not sure if they're provided in seventh grade. They do get it early on, so they can
Well, I
make the
said
decisions.
end of seventh grade.
End of seventh grade. I'm not sure that we give them specifically. That is something, obviously we want to, as we're growing those programs, we want to continue to promote them, so yes.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because Ms. Rucker and I frequently put things up about dual enrollment, encouraging parents to it, and parents consistently say, oh, I didn't know we could do that. Okay, and these are kids, their kids are in high school. They didn't know they could do it. So, I mean, for my money, I would say certainly into seventh grade, beginning of eighth grade, this goes home to parents. And we say, you can do this, and your child can actually graduate from Midlands Tech the same time they graduate from our high school.
It definitely is part of that individual graduation plan process when a student's in eighth grade. So all of those things are topics of conversation. The programs that we offer at L2IC, the dual enrollment, all the things become part of that transition as a kid's beginning that planning for high school. So that starts typically in the fall of their eighth grade years when we start talking about that.
And are parents provided that information, or
Yes.
it's a discussion with kids?
That meeting is with the kids and parents.
Okay, thank you so much.
Any other discussion on that? All right. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is the consideration of renaming and aligning the expulsion extension program. Proposal for Lexington District 2 trustees, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Warren.
Yeah, ask Mr. Chapman and Dr. Burgraff to step up to the podium real quick, but I'll provide a segue for it. Ultimately, we've had this program in place for several years, the expulsion extension program, an opportunity for students who do go through the hearing process to avoid, losing credits, getting further behind, trying to keep them on track. And really what we want to do here is just bring a name change to you for this program, because the name expulsion extension program does create some confusion, because if you don't know anything about it, you hear expulsion extension, you might think your expulsion just got extended. So that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to shorten it or eliminate it and keep them, on track, with their classes. And so that's what we're bringing to you, but I did want these two to come up and provide a quick little overview of what we're doing here, what we're trying to do, and what we want to continue to do with these students and their unique situations. Mr. Chapman?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, board members, and Dr. Cooper. I know Mr. Chairman loves quotes, so I brought a quote before I begin. Lexington2 is taking care of their kids. Why can't we? I took that off of social media because I like to surf, happenings in Red Bank, South Carolina, no stupid rules. And I ran up on a post of parents complaining about other districts not doing enough for their kids, but Lexington is. So it's just a segue into what we're trying to do with this New Bridge Extension program. We want to eliminate parental misconception, being that a lot of parents see that term expulsion extension and they mistake that their child has been fully expelled, but they haven't. In reality, they're still enrolled in the district. Once again, it clarifies the purpose of the program, to reestablish the program's primary function as a supportive virtual intervention that is not a result of an expulsion. Also, when you look at what we're doing in Lexington2, we're committed to our multi-tiered system of support to foster a positive behaviors while keeping schools safe and orderly. What we try to do at Newbridge Academy is we try to make sure that students can still be in this program, still have the core operations of the program, but also meet a standard and criteria. And it's also aligning the actual program with the name of the school. Once again, this is a proactive intervention where we're able to move kids to that program, long-term, short-term, and while I'm thinking about that, I do apologize to Ms. Remy. I've been calling her a lot these last 2 days. I have had a lot of parents call and they want their kids at Newbridge Academy. And it's kind of strange because I've never had 6 or 7 parents in one day beg me to put them at Newbridge. So something is going good over there at Newbridge Academy. Academic advancement, and I know Doc will talk more about that. He's the expert, not me. We have a clear pathway of instruction, and ultimately, we get to reintegrate those students back into their home schools. Once again, like I said, aligning it with our policy, JKAA and JKAB. If you look at the actual policy, the actual name in there is EEP. We want to change it to our new name. Also, it's a speed bump, not a dead end. We don't want to use any program in this district that totally eliminates kids from getting the education. Like me and Ms. Black always tell parents, the most serious thing that we can do to a kid is to make a decision to end their educational career. And I do, and I know some of my fellow colleagues feel like this. It's time for us to continue to be, the champions that we say we are, and that, keep reducing our expulsions and also do a little bit more for students.
So on the screen, you do see some data points. Essentially, as we've gone on with this program, we've identified students who are better and better fit for this program. We have conversations with them about the self-discipline it takes to do well in online coursework. The counselor at Newbridge, Mr. Chapman, myself, when a student is being considered for expulsion extension, we look at their current schedule so that we can say in advance in those conversations, you're in these courses, these will transfer into the expulsion extension program. If you're in a welding class, for example, that does not transfer. So we can inform them up front about how we can keep it as, give them as much continuity as possible, and be realistic about the expectations that they have to do well in this program. So you can see the passage rate of courses has improved. The number of credits earned has improved, and this past school year, 5 seniors were able to stay on track and complete their graduation requirements as a result of being in this program. So we just highlight this is one of many flexible pathways that we have for students to stay on track. Despite life circumstances, despite situations they find themselves in, the Newbridge Extension Program is one of 3 opportunities that we have for them to still reach the ultimate destination of graduation.
Happy to answer any questions you have, but we are looking for approval to change the name as was discussed by Dr. Burgraff, Mr. Chapman, and myself.
And the new name is New Bridge Extension Program?
Bridge Extension Program, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we consider the renaming of the Expulsion Extension Program to New Bridge Extension Program as presented.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that?
I have a question, Mr. Chair. On the third to last slide, year after year decline, 25, 26, we had 60 annual expulsions. But on the slide prior to that, there was only 11 high school students. Is that because some of those expulsions just didn't make it into EAS, or because 49 of the 60 are middle and elementary? So that's 60 on your bottom left number, and then go back one slide. Oopsies, that was 2. Go forward one.
I don't see which one you're talking about, Mr. Burry.
Maybe we have a different slide deck.
What I have is
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Go forward.
Right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that was wrong. I did change it. So what you're talking about is, it was 11 high school students, but once Dr. Burgraff and I crunched our numbers, it was 13 high school students who were in there. So it's not 11, it was 13.
Gotcha, cool. So 13 of 60 is high school students, and the 47 of 60 are not high school students?
Not
Or of that 60, was there another number that were EES
Not
kids?
necessarily. Every high school student didn't get a chance at the EEP program.
Gotcha.
Because some of them didn't meet the qualifications, but also some of the kids who were high school students, they did, some infractions where, they couldn't participate.
They couldn't do it. That was my question. So without that number there, what % of kids that actually met the EES program then kind of moved forward?
I would have to get those numbers to you. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. The only thing I keep track of, I'm trying to make sure we have expulsions under 1%. That's my data threshold, that this district doesn't have over 1% in expulsion.
That's something we can definitely provide
But
that.
I can
I
start.
mean,
doing this year.
the count of 13 is great. I mean, that's 13 that it used to be 0, so that's phenomenal. But knowing that ratio is something that, it would just goes help to, when you go to Red Bank's Facebook, you can give them a ratio,
Get that for you, no problem.
Ms.
No
Burkett?
offense, Red Bank.
I just wondered if y'all could just clarify some of the verbiage for me. If it says that in a particular year, we had 118 students expelled, this past year it was 60, okay, were they expelled from their school and given the opportunity to do something different, or were they expelled, as in you don't get to come back?
They were expelled.
Okay, so we had 60 students who we said goodbye, you don't get another chance. I'm just trying to be clear. Okay.
Well, they do get another chance. When you're expelled, you can come back the next year, but sometimes that does.
They're all back this year.
That comes with, an expectation, either, most likely you would start the year at New Bridge Academy if you were expelled, depending on the situation, but yeah, they do come back.
So you mean like in the following year, they might start at New Bridge to begin with? Okay, so, all right, so this says, the passage rate, 55%, and that is 37 students that we're listing there. So that has nothing to do with the 60. The 60 and the 37 are entirely different people.
Entirely different.
Okay, and so what was the number of people who actually make up the 45% that are left? Who are they?
Those are our students who were entered into the program, and you're looking at high school students right there.
Okay,
So I think that the 55% is, I understand your question, is the percentage of students who were successful in the EEP program, Dr. Burgraff?
Right, that's the percentage of credits that were earned versus credits attempted.
okay, and so the other 45% did not earn any credits, but they stayed in the program all year? Is that what happened?
So that is it's not necessarily percentage of students, it's percentage of credits. So if I passed, for example, 2 of my 4 classes, that's a 50% passage rate for me as an individual.
Okay,
So collectively combined, out of all the courses that they attempted in that EEP program, in 24-25, they passed 55% of those enrollments. In 25-26, they passed 68% of those enrollments.
Okay, so what happens to, let's say I have a student who is there, they don't pass in order to earn their credits. Do we keep them? Do we keep going next year? I mean, if this is supposed to be their senior year, do we continue?
If they do not meet graduation requirements as a senior, after what happens after the year, some of them choose to finish up over the summer. Some of them do come back for a fifth year the following school year to finish up those remaining credits.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, these statistics are a little confusing because they're referring to different things. So they're different data points. So I'm sorry that I'm confused by that, but, okay, thank you.
Assuming consensus, I think on the ABC going forward, it'd be really good to know on the monthly side, what % were expelled, and then what % were Newbridge extensioned,
Yeah.
or whatever the new term is.
Well,
Because I think that's the issue. Like, I appreciate the credits, but the credit doesn't give me a kid count, you know?
Right. Like,
We don't-
how many
so-
were expelled and how many were extended?
Right,
What
exactly.
might be good information.
We can do that. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Any other questions up here? All right, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Does that mean we'll do JKA and JKAB next go-round, or do we have to change names in there since it's in those two policies, or?
Now that we voted
Okay.
on the name change.
Yeah.
So we can put that on next one? I'd suggest that we just put those, if that's all we change, that we just let them be first and second readings and not let it take up a whole lot of room.
So we can move
Yep.
with the name that makes sense for the school year. That makes sense.
Do it with exception. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go ahead and do item D, and make a motion that we approve the out-of-state overnight travel request for Deputy Superintendent to attend the 2026 Fall Northeast Innovation Forum in Baltimore, October 24th through the 27th, 2026.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries.
Do you want to go to Baltimore?
All right, that moves us on through. Now we got some announcements here. August the 20th, 2026, Teacher and Support Employee of the Year reception be at 5:15 here in the PAC lobby. And then along the same night at our regular monthly meeting of the Board of Trustees at 6 p.m. in the Department of Education boardroom. And I will entertain a motion to move into executive.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we enter into executive session for consideration of personnel appointments and resignations.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are now in executive.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we reconvene in open session,
Second.
and
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We are now open session.
I make a motion that we accept the administration's recommendation for teacher and employee appointments and resignations.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
I make a motion that we accept the administration's recommendation for Director of Secondary Education, Candidate A.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I make a motion that we accept the administration's recommendation for the Assistant Principal at Airport High School, Candidate B.
Second.
Had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.